All right. Good morning to any replayers. If you're a replayer, you can still participate. You can tap on the screen for hearts. You can find me on Twitter or Snapchat at joannazarach. So if you have any questions, or if you just need, figure out which step are you at, where are you in the journey, how do you move forward, I'm happy to do that because I am here to help you guys. You too can build wealth. Okay. So if you're new to me, good morning to anybody who's joining live. Thank you for joining. If you're new to me, my name is joannazarach, and what do? I made it my mission. I've had this desire for a long time, but I really didn't know how to execute against it. And I think the technology, has arrived, and the awareness is here, and the tools are here for me to do this. What I want to do is help people figure out how money works and help them change their own behaviors and priorities so that they can get on their way to build wealth. So what I do is at 10 a.m. every single day, 7 days a week, I have a broadcast. It's called Money Habits, and you're on it. And I do a Money Habits broadcast every day because I have a firm belief that developing good habits around your money is very critical to building wealth. Just like any other habit, right? If you're into fitness or nutrition or exercise, this is something that you're going to hear a lot, right? You got to develop good habits. You can't really diet your way into health. You can't do like exercise for a week, a year, and expect results. The only thing you're going to get results with is developing consistent habits. So I talk about a variety of different things every day of the week, including my favorite tools and how you should address your financial life and how to create a money plan. And then I also do a Money Matters broadcast, which is a 5 p.m. Central Time, Tuesdays and Fridays, where I really dive a little bit deeper on it, so it's like more technical on a money topic, because I think that most people get intimidated by money, by the financial industry, and don't really understand how some of these things work. So I want to break down, it's U.S. centric for sure. It's what I know. But I talk a lot about the big five. So let me just start out with the big five, and then let's talk about what I want to the message I want to deliver today. On Saturday, we talk about success, kind of where you are, what are the steps you've taken to move towards success. But the big five money topics that you really need to start taking care of and start paying attention to in order for you to get out of the paycheck to paycheck cycle or being broke, and just to really get a different mindset. The big five that you need to solve for is, number one is income. You really need to figure out how you're going to increase your income or improve your income situation, because your revenue stream, and I use a lot of corporate terminology, and I do think that people need to start thinking of their household as a business, including your revenue. So you, maybe your partner, you guys have income streams. You may have multiple income streams, right? You have something, if you're still early in your career, you're still learning, you're still developing your skill set, you're in an apprenticeship model, and it's okay. It's okay to work for someone and to learn from them, figure out how their business works. And by the way, that's what you really need to be doing. Is if you're in a situation where you're an employee, really figure out how your industry works, how the business works. At the very small thing, ask questions, right? If you have a manager, if you have the business owner, ask them questions. You need to learn about money and how values generate in the world and how money flows. So income's number one. Number two is going to be taxation. If you are not paying attention to taxes and how taxes impact your ability to keep your money, you're actually leaving a lot of money on the table. Most people don't understand taxation, the implication of taxes. I talk a lot about tax-deferred accounts, tax breaks, tax-free things, because that's going to really impact your ability to build wealth. And actually, taxation can really impact your rate of return when it comes to investing. That's number three. Investing. So I had this epiphany yesterday, and that's what I'm talking about today, is that what I really want to do is to move people from the consumer mindset to an investor mindset. That is a huge, huge shift when it comes to money. Because most people, no thanks. I will, I want people to shift from that mindset. The consumer mindset means if you have money, you're looking for things to spend it on. The investor mindset is if you have extra money, you're looking for things to invest in. So investments is really important. And again, I'm not trying to get everybody to be a finance professional. What I need you to understand is some basics around investing, how compounding works, how rate of return works, how fees will impact your ability to grow your wealth, and just learn some basics. I like to say that my financial advisor is Warren Buffett. He says basically if you're under 10 million, you need to be investing in low-cost mutual funds, index funds. Why is it that no one takes this advice? Why do people think that like, oh, I'm going to get a financial advisor and they're going to do something special with my $100,000? No, they're going to take some of that money and keep it for themselves. That's called fees, right? And so you want to find the lowest fee investment that's in the market. Thanks for the hearts. Number 4 is big purchases. Before you make a big purchase, really understand how it's going to impact your ability to build wealth. And number 5 is risk mitigation. But the reason I'm here, the topic of the day is this mission. This mission is to transition from a consumer to investor mindset. And it seems really, really simple because I've been in an investor mindset my entire life. And so to me, it was like, of course, I'm investing. You know, when you first start investing, I talked a lot about investing yesterday, so I know it's still on my mind, but when you first start investing, keep it simple, right? Like, most people are cash flow challenged. That is a reality of our society, of a consumer society. The consumer mindset makes you cash flow challenged. What do I mean by cash flow challenge? It means that the money that's coming in and the money that's going out is in imbalance, which means more money usually is going out than coming in. That's what I call a cash flow challenge. Why? Because you're in a consumer mindset. You are looking to consume bigger, better, faster. Hello from France. Bonjour. Comment ça va? The mindset is that you need to get something bigger, something better, something newer. That's the consumer mindset. It says buy, 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 buy. Oh, you've got extra money? Oh, wait, you don't have extra money? We'll give you some quote-unquote free money, in terms of credit. Free money is the most expensive money you can ever get. It costs you a lot of money. Before you can become an investor, you need to get rid of all personal credit debt. So anything with double digits interest rate, you need to get rid of by paying it off. And the only way to do it is to get your consumer consumption under control. So the consumer mindset is basically sends you down the path as if you earn more money, you're going to spend more money. Oh, look, I got a raise in my paycheck. What can I do with it? Can I buy a vacation? Can I buy a bigger house? Should I buy new furniture? Should I do this, more electronics, newer things? And that's the consumer mindset will keep you in poverty. And you may not be poor, like in a technical sense, where like you have stuff that you need. You have housing, you have food, you have education, all these things. But your net worth is not much to show for it, right? You actually, there's an exercise that I've talked about. I need to really formalize it, where I want you to look at and see what you've earned over your lifetime. If you're in the US, this is actually a really simple way to do it. It's called a Social Security statement. Your Social Security statement has a column in it that's the Medicare wages. Medicare wages are there's no cap on the Medicare wages when it gets taxed. And that's actually, if you've been working for 20 years, you can add up all those columns and see how much has your lifetime earnings been and what do you have to show for it, right? That's your net worth. So really getting away from the consumer mindset. Now, because when you become an investor and you have an investor mindset, when you have extra money, extra income that's coming to you, you're going, ooh, what can I invest it in, right? And so when you start out with the mindset, you're going to look at your investing goals first. And when it comes to taxes, when you combine income tax and investment, what you're looking for is to convert your income into tax-free investments. And those are your IRAs, your 401ks, whether it's Roth, traditional, but even taking advantage of, things like flexible spending accounts, things where you're like, ooh, I know that my take-home pay will be smaller, but I'm channeling this money into places that I get to keep long term, right? So it does take some planning, right? I don't recommend people just go all crazy and try to max things out and they go, oh my God, I don't have, money for the bills that you already signed up for, right? It's a shift that's going to take some time. If you're fully invested in the consumer mindset and consumer lifestyle, it will take some time for you to transition to the investor mindset. Why? Because you kind of have to undo some of the habits you developed around spending. It's not easy. It's not easy, like even for someone like myself. I get into a habit and I start buying things and I go, wait a minute, I'm either throwing it away, I'm not using it, like closet's full of stuff I don't like, things where you go, whoa, 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 I'm going to have to stop and maybe I need to use some tools or some mindsets to help me undo that. And so, and again, it's not to be like a miser. It's not meant to be like you can enjoy life. It's just that your priorities will shift. And all of a sudden, when you're looking for things to invest, you say, now that I'm an investor, and I'm looking and more interested in business and the capital markets, I'm also interested in generating additional income for myself, right? So you start exploring a different type of world than the narrative that's been given to you by someone else. Whether it's your employer, whether it's, your sort of industry or your educational path, you're exploring a different mindset. And so the investor mindset will equip you with multiple things that are just different in consumer. When you have that extra money coming in, whether it's a tax refund, whether it's end of year bonus, whether it's a raise, the first thing you're asking yourself is, how can I be an investor? How can I invest this money? How can I make it grow this money for me? How is it going to impact my net worth? Not what can I buy with this, right? When you stop asking yourself, what can I buy with this? Then you start asking yourself, how can I invest it? Then you're going to see it's a small shift, right? But it's very powerful, because then you start valuing your net worth instead of just your spending power, and you start paying attention to it. And then you say, well, how can I change it? And then that's when all this machine of income taxation, investing, big purchases, and risk management, it comes into play, it comes into reality. Because I think a lot of people struggle because they're like, well, I don't have any extra money to invest. Because you're looking at investment as an optional extra versus like that's a given. That's what's driving the budget for everything else, right? You invest first, then you go, well, if I'm earning X and I invest Y, then what I'm left with is Z. And that's what I'm going to use my consumption around, right? Or I'm going to try to raise my income if I want a higher lifestyle. But you can also say, what's acceptable and what's achievable versus how big, how much newer does all my stuff have to be? Do you have to have the brand new electronics? Do you have to have a bigger house? Like, what can you manage with? And I think when you're an investor, you start seeing things differently. And when you accumulate enough investments to be substantial and you're looking at your net worth, then you may actually start reflecting on, what else can I do with that? How do I instill this knowledge into my children? Like my friend just asked me today, she's like, I read somewhere that if you take $5,000 at birth, it turns into $1 million at retirement. So, well, given some conditions. One, it has to grow tax-free. And two, is the return has to be 8.5% to be, that you get to keep to be $1 million at 65. Think about how powerful how your investment mindset can impact your children positively by you taking some actions to benefit them in the future. And then they're going to recognize the value of it because you've already proven it. And that's part of the power of creating intergenerational wealth, where no one can compete with that. So you and I can't compete with intergenerational wealth, but what you can do is plant the seeds of being an investor, not just for yourself, but for your children. And basically, you can release them from the struggle. Like, I want people to get away from, I call it intergenerational struggle or intergenerational poverty. And again, poverty doesn't mean that you're like poor, you're like absolute, have nothing. It just means that you're not financially secure, right? So maybe it's the intergenerational financial insecurity where you accept it as part of life. And I'm saying, well, no, that's not. The more is available to you. More is available to you and I, and it's yours for the taking, right? But that's the thing. There's not a lot of resources to help you like get started. And here's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to really explore like what will it take for people to take those steps and then also take them in the right direction, put them on the right path. Because the calculation that I did was, if you take the same $5,000, and even if it grows tax-free, if you take $5,000 and you only grow it at 6%, and by the way, that's the leftover rate after you have a bunch of fees added to your investment, like through a financial advisor or a mutual fund that charges high fees, you're only going to be left with 6%. All of a sudden, that $5,000, it doesn't turn into $1 million. It turns into like $220,000. That's the power I'm trying to illustrate and show people, and even for myself, go, oh my God, that's really, really powerful, of how that money plus time plus rate of return is really what builds wealth and preserves it and keeps you, it keeps your purchasing power real. But again, you've got to first transition from a consumer mindset to an investor mindset. And that's my mission. I'm like, what is it I'm trying to do? Why is it I'm trying to get people to get out of the sort of the financial struggle, and how? And the thing is, I think what I'm doing differently, right? I'm trying to get people from the consumer mindset to an investor mindset, because I've seen the power of it. I've experienced that power of the rate of return and the compounding and time and just the discipline, because that's the first thing I do. Like, that's what I want, and that's what I go after. And the consumerism, that the message to spend has been turned way down in my life, like way down. Like, some people might argue a little like too dramatically, but it's because like there is no, when you spend, you have to continue to like create wealth for others. And that's what working is, by the way. If you're an employee, there's a high likelihood, like an employee is supposed to deliver about 10 times value to the business. And if you're an employee, you are creating wealth for someone else, which is fine. And that's just, you just need to accept that. But you can also be getting something out of that employee-employer relationship, which is your apprenticeship, which is a learning and a skill set that's of value, of a higher value. Once you learn a lot of stuff, than it is to just show up and trade your time for money, because you want to trade your skills, right? You want to have a valuable skill that you can then offer to the market. Yeah, it's not to say that like any of this is easy, and that's the other thing. I'm like, I don't want to sell you on this idea that somehow like, you wake up one day, you're like, I have an investor mindset, where's my money, right? It's like, it's a slow transition, and it's a sacrifice, right? You're gonna have to make some trade-offs that may be uncomfortable and are not supported. They may not even be supported by your partner, your spouse, your family around you. They'll be like, why are you crazy, right? Like, what's wrong? Like, especially if you've been able to afford a pretty lavish lifestyle. And I don't mean lavish like multimillionaire, but if you have 6 figures, you have a comfortable lifestyle, and you feel like, wow, I have a lot of money. Surely I can afford to go out. Surely I can afford this. I can afford that. And it's hard. It's hard to go, okay, but what if I redirect some of my funds into investing? And that's, again, you have to have a strong set of beliefs and some substantiated, like, graphs, or like the graphs that they show you, and the belief that you can do this. Because the minute you start going, well, if I could just hand this over to someone else, won't they make me money? And you'll get some, but you'll have more power, your investing dollars will go further if you're willing to do it yourself. And again, it's not super complicated. It just seems overwhelming because the world's offering you too many options. But if you boil it down to the simple ones, and you follow your financial advisor, Warren Buffett, and you just follow that formula, I guarantee you, like the math doesn't lie. That's the beauty of it. Like, at the end of the day, like, numbers don't lie and the math is right. And that's where what I stand behind it, because I'm like, but I'll run the math. I don't have fancy brochures, and I'm not even trying to sell you anything. I'm just trying to convince you to go down this path. So anyway, that's the scope for today. Small successes, big successes, like, just celebrate them. I finally filled out my flexible spending account form for last year. So that's money. I paid my real estate tax bill on time. Like little things where it's like, oh, what if I forget? Just get it done. Make sure you have the cash flow. Take care of those things and celebrate the small successes, because it's not easy. That form was a pain, like making you collect all these forms and send them in, and it's not when things are not easy, it's because they're not to benefit you, but you have to like take control over it and do it anyway. So celebrate your successes, think about it hard, and when you need help, I'm here every single day, 7 days a week at 10 a.m. because I love questions, or, you know, whatever your struggle is, when you've taken a step and you say, what's next, right? Like, okay, I have an emergency savings, I've paid off my credit card debt, or even before that, or have an emergency savings. Like, I want to start investing. What do I do? I'm happy to walk you through it. You know, it's like, to me, the formula is fairly simple, and the only reason it's simple is because I've done it. I've done every single thing myself, and I suggest to you what products to use. Like I'm always talking about, you know, every Intuit product. It's just that self-service financial calculation products like Mint.com and TurboTax, and you know, when it comes to low-cost investing and Vanguard, and all of these things that I use. I don't recommend things that I haven't been using for a long time and I haven't seen proven results from. And then yeah, it's not like no, you're not going to show up at someone's office and just write them a check and they'll say, I'll take care of everything. When people say that, that means they're going to get paid somehow, and they're going to pay it out of that money that you would have otherwise earned. If that's what you want to buy, that's fine. Just make sure you do it eyes wide open and understand the rate of return, and how it's going to impact your wealth building over time. And so that's it. Thank you for joining today. Appreciate everybody who did tune in and listen, and or anyone who's replayed. And you can, again, if you want to reach out to me, you can find me on Twitter or Snapchat. Twitter's easy enough. Snapchat I know is still new. What I love about Snapchat, you can just send like a little video and you can ask your question without having to worry about like, oh, how do I type it? And it's like, just hit me up with a quick question and will reply to you. Or if you want to set up a session or Skype and go through your own situation, I'm here to educate people. Like that's my mission. I'm a financial educator who's kind of done it all in my life, and I'm a do-it-yourself kind of person. So I will teach you how to do it. I won't do it for you, but I will teach you and I'll answer your questions. So thanks a lot, and I will see you guys tomorrow at 10 a.m. Central Time, because even if it's Sunday, money doesn't sleep, and good habits are every single day. Goodbye.